And we're live. Greetings, one and all. Peace, everybody. Welcome to Movie Innerstandings. And we back! And this is me. Um, I am Achi Karar, um, aka Aki Low. You know, Karar's too much for you. You just call me Aki Low, which is cool with me. But here we are. We're back at it again. And we are going over the movie Feng Shui. Um, and well, before we go over that, when we talk about Feng Shui, we're talking about the Chinese belief system of that the way the way your house is built or the way that you arrange objects that will affect success, health, and happiness. Um, in your life, you know. And here, what I'm talking about, we have a movie that's based on that, but it's more so about land, you know. Already, my peace, Sister Yakira. I was about to say it, but yeah. And so this movie was very good. It and deep, if you ask me. It's very deep. Um, if you don't know, um, this is it's sort of like it is a movie based on a little bit of historical, um, but it has pieces of history in it. Put it to you like that, and peace, Sister Yafe, and it deals with a, a dynasty that I'm interested in when it comes to Korea. The Joseon or Joseon dynasty, right? And the Joseon dynasty was basically from 1392 to 1910. You know, um, and this movie happens to deal with the later part of the Joseon dynasty. You know what I'm talking about. Um, Peace, South Hopper. And I don't want to give you too much about the Joseon dynasty, just because of the simple fact that if I ever do a breakdown um, of the founding of Joseon, I don't want to give too much, right? But basically, watching movies and TV shows about the founding of the Joseon dynasty, um, it really piqued my interest, and shoot, even Korea also has a Three Kingdoms period. Yep. It's just not in China, but they also had a Three Kingdoms period, and the founding of Choson was very interesting, especially with the royal dynasty, which their surname happens to be Li or Yi. Remember Chief talking to all of us about the name Li, and its uh, background, where you get the name from. So here you have the a movie about the Li clan or the Li emperors, and whatnot. So that's what we gonna get into. What I'm talking about. So, when we start off with the movie, what I'm talking about. You see the crown prince is being poisoned, and he ends up dying, right? And so, the emperor looks for, a land site, that will bless his descendants, that he can put, the crown prince's remains on, right? Peace and Manaya. For sure. Thank you, Anu Radio. I don't. Is that? Well, you'll let me know. But yeah. Um. So they being feng shui masters, right? And they say yes. I'm about to say yes, Chona. Which means your majesty. But yes, Emperor. This wonderful sight. Got great chi, and everything. And then you have one a trainee, a junior feng shui master, or let's say feng shui trainee, and he says, "No, Your Majesty. If you put the crown prince's remains here, then his son is not going to have an heir. This place is cursed." He literally says this place is cursed. And he gives markers, natural markers that tells you that this place is cursed. But he's rebutted by police sovereignties. He's rebutted by the senior feng shui masters. I'm like, no, Your Majesty, this is a good place. Now, the trainee does give saying that if you look a few feet, that is a better sight. Towards those trees, that's a better sight. But the emperor doesn't listen to the trainee. He listens to the senior masters. And that trainee's name is Park Jason, right? And because he spoke out, doing his job and whatnot, basically, I won't say prime minister, but maybe left state minister, Yes, it does put a target on his family. They put a hit out on him. Kim 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 Wagon. He puts a hit out on him. But he misses Jay Song, and he kills his wife and son. Burns him in the house. And since then, Jay Song plots revenge. He wants to get revenge for his family being killed, but he still makes money, with feng shui, with his craft, which is feng shui, and it's very interesting just because of the simple fact that if you see Parjay San as a feng shui master, he's like a priest. He's like a Babalao in a sense, maybe not on the same in the same realm, but by the way he's talking, talking to people, he's like a Babalao in a sense. You know what I'm talking about? And he makes his money, hustling, land to the rich. Like one thing you see, as he's hustling this house, and saying, yeah, this house be good for, kids and educational advancement and things like that. Now he's plotting this idea. They got it for what, 50 pennies. And they're plotting this idea to what? Noble ladies, they ain't plotting, they ain't pitching this idea or this land grab to men. They pitch this to women. Suckers. And they jump at it, just offering anything, any amount of money, to get this one house, right? That he didn't pay only 50 pennies for, which his friend, Jinshik, helped him out with, right? Yeah, true. So I'm gonna they are officials, but it's like I'm back. Okay, cool, 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 cool. All right, but as I was trying to say, Sister Maria, they're officials, but they run certain departments. Like you have, it's very intricate. They have departments for records and generals and things like that. It's very intricate. So if they don't give me like like what faction, or we'll get into that, or what type of minister it is, I just can't say an official. By the way, Kim drop Kim Walgon was talking, he's like in the and his placement, I would say he's like minister, I want to say left state minister or prime minister. That's where I was going just by his placement alone. Usually that spot and the way he was talking, he's like a prime minister. You know what I'm talking about? Or just a state minister, but a prime minister, right? Um, peace, G, peace, peace. And so, um, like I say, he's hustling, he's hustling the women, you know, with this with this house grab, right? But when a poor woman, um, comes to him and is like, my son's not studying. He's looking at pornographic um book. He's looking at a pornographic book. Here they come. We gotta do clean up. You know what I'm talking about. That train's never late. Okay. But so she goes to him saying how can she make her son study. So what he tells her is, okay, the problem is, his desk is facing the wall. Have it face the door, put in a wind chime or something, and I'll make your son want to study. He doesn't ask for a fee or anything. He just gives it to her. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, her son's studying. Like I say, one thing you also have to pay attention to in this movie is that this may be a feng shui movie, but in a sense, if you pay attention to the cinematography, right, this is also a movie about with subtle physiognomy, which is study of facial structures and things like that. It's there, especially like when a noble woman asks, or a consort, she probably was concubine, but as her husband won't sleep with her, so how can she get that? Now when Jason, he looks at her first, and you see the camera, you see her face, and then he tells her, okay, where y'all live, it's in a place where the work is draining, so the men go to the Ginseng house, what I'm saying, or Ginseng house, which is it's a house for courtesans. There we go. That's the right word. We don't gotta use the other word. It's a house for courtesans. They're artists, and he's like, and that's just draining. So they go there, and that's why your husband ain't doing it. So this is what you do. I want you to put your bed like this, put a red blanket over you and over the bed and things like that, and he'll do it. He'll come and knock it. So he does, right? But when he does, but when she like, sir, I'm here, and he's like, got that. I'm tired, but when he sees her, then, best little house for courtesans in Texas. Hey, okay, we're not. You have me act up, yes. Anyway, best little house for courtesans in Texas. It, but them girls got too much. Well, I'm not going there. But the way the light is, you can tell that this chick ain't, she's average. Like the answer came quick. To me, it was like, of course your husband don't really, fancy you. You're average. But you're not really. I bet that's what he probably wanted to say, but he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little added touch for show. Put your bed like this, and he'll, he'll come see you. What I'm saying? It was dim light. You saw, it was dim light. She, was unbuttoned, Hamburg. That's the dress they wear. They wear Hamburg. And all of a sudden he rethinks, he's about to say, I'm tired, but then he's like, oh, she looks kind of different today, and they get it on and whatnot. But he also helps, like I say, he helps the poor lady. He also helps poor merchants for free. Like I say, he's like a Babala. He's a priest in this retrospect. Where these poor merchants want him to help them, revitalize, their merchant area. Because the rich people or the nobles, they built one, and that's taking all the money away. So he walks through it. Now, like Chief has told us, right? You know, um, when it comes to priests, like he says, the answers come really quick. And as they're walking through, you know, um, basically the market square, the answer comes pretty quick. It's not, you know, that somebody built another market close to them. It's just that market's hood than it's hood. It's ratchet. You got people. You got hood. You got a hood wife beating her husband. You got kids peeing in the alley. You got, you know, and he's like, of course, of course, nobody, of course, people frequented your market at one point in time because it was the only one there, but look at how y'all live. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna put, the blacksmith shop in the front. Put the mill there, so there's a sweet smell. You're gonna fill up the holes in the street, things like that. You're gonna make it look presentable, and thing and he even gives an extra touch where he says, if you dig right here, there's a well. Y'all can have a well. I can give it to the travelers. He helps them out. I'm like, well, and he does it for free. He just gives it to them, man. And after that, we get back to Kim Wagon, and he's plotting to get more land. Now, it's very important that you understand that, because you're going to hear Kim Wagon talk about his Kim clan. Now, historically, there was a Kim clan during the Choson period that were very powerful. Also kind of corrupt. And they're called the Andong Kim clan. Andong Kim clan. And the Andong Kim clan, they are nobles. They are a noble family, but they also had familial ties within the royal household. They married into the royal house of Korea, or the imperial house. So they have those ties, but they wasn't the only family that did. I forget the name of the other clan, but they will always battle them back and forth. So that's one thing you will see with Joseon or Choson government, in the sense that there's factions, and sometimes that faction can also depend on the clan in which you are born into. If you're a noble family, upper echelon noble. So that was very, very telling. This movie doesn't say that it's based on historical events or things, but there's bits of history involved in this. I'm talking about, and so we find out, as he's trying to get more land, and we get to see Duke Hong Sung, who's played by homie Ji Sung, and Duke Hong Sung is a royal, but he's the uncle to the emperor, and he's basically treated as a a drunk or a low life royal, but he's in the royal family. We're going to talk a little bit more about Duke Hong Song, because actually Duke Hong Song was a real person, and that was his name, Lee Yi Ho Song. And later down the line, we'll historically talk about his part to play in the Joseon dynasty, but he's on the side of the emperor. Like, he plays the dummy, but he does that to get close to the Kim clan, to basically, topple them and gain information, to bring back to his nephew, the emperor. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, Sister Murray, you're right. And so he tells, the emperor what they're all doing, what the Kim clan is doing, or Kim Walgon's doing. And he says, when this is about a land thing, because Kim Walgon also has his own personal feng shui master, which is Master John. And he's like, well, when your father died, there was a man who said that, his gravesite was a cursed place. And he's like, oh, I remember that. He was like, can we find this guy? So they go looking for him. you know. Um and they the Duke visit him himself, and they talk, and they say, well, you were the guy that 13 years ago said something about, the emperor, the crown prince gravesite being cursed. And he says, yeah, but I want to, can you go into more detail about it? And he said, yeah, I'll tell the emperor. So he goes to the emperor, right? He goes and tell him, why that place is cursed. He said it may look good, or that land may look good, but it's actually a bad place. Now, they're they were busy, basically pontificating on whether or not they should dig up the crown prince's grave. Because that could set off alarms for the Kim clan, and make them have an issue with it. But he says, y'all need to go now. So they go. And then, as you can see, when they dig up the crown prince, everything that, basically Jason told them, 13 years ago, that's pretty much was there. His body was, decomposed, of course, but there was snakes and just a bunch of, nasty things on his body. Wasn't a good place, But then he tells them, yeah, there was another good place, some feet away, and somebody's buried there. He didn't want to say who. So, but they dig up that body and they find out it's Kim Walgon's father that's buried there, and that sets off the emperor. He's mad. He's like, get him, So basically, before that happens, a woman or a maid, or close to the emperor, goes to Kim Walgon and tells them what the emperor did, and everybody that was a conspirator to his plot at that time was instantly killed. He killed everybody like that, which was cool. It was like, oh, but yeah. So, all of us keep a secret if all y'all did, except for me. But, the emperor confronts him, and then they make a deal, to set things right. Already you can see that the sovereign is not strong enough to basically topple this minister. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, basically the answer comes pretty quick, you know what I'm saying, on what the issue is, But then, Duke, Hong Song, and Jason, they and a few other members, a few other guys, they meet, and then they see the chief Kyung-sung, Chosun, who is actually works, or you could say is the Duke's woman. She's the Duke's woman. Okay. Doom reference. Anyway, as she gives info on, Kim Wagon's house. She has a detailed map. She's been there. And she says, this secret compartment, y'all find what y'all need to find here. Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for evidence to find out where did Wagon, why did he buy so much land, for one, and what did he do with it, in a sense? Where did he put his family? Because nobody knows. So they come up with a plan, and Jason, he uses Feng Shui to basically get an audience with Kim Wagon, and because of that audience, he's able to steal the Kingpin's family map, but he's also able to see, in a sense, the Feng Shui master, Master Zhong, who is giving them the information on the best land for them to have, But like I say, this movie's deep because oh my goodness, it deals with, one thing that she said we should be interested in having the best land, and here you have a clan, interested in getting the best. Okay, in getting the best land. Make sure I shot him. Okay. Hero reminds me of Red Cliff. They just put it up on screen. They used the sister to acquire the map that led me to consider the 64 artists and the skill of map making. Yes, yes, they did. They used Sunshine Jang to get that map. Yes, yes, they did, and it's sort of the same thing. Get out of there. Um, but they get the map. And one thing you learn from having that secret map is that the Kim clan, what they did was they buried their family members or their ancestors on top of the old kings. That's where their 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 actual ancestral burial ground is. It's on the it's it's on top of the old. They literally put the coffin on top of the old king, which is like a ritual. You know what I'm talking about? Is like I say, it gets deep. It's like a ritual. That's how they was able to prosper and be on top for so long. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't even in the emperor spot. But to basically have the Kim clan lose credibility, they Jason and Honsung and them decide to spread a rumor about it, so it can reach the ears of the emperor. And so the emperor hears all of this, and then he confronts Kim Wagong. And when he does, he's with his royal guard. Usually, when you see the emperor's royal guard, historically, they wear like these hats, right, with two feathers up, like way up, like rabbit ears up, which is very interesting. And sometimes they're the best fighters, in all of Chosun and whatnot. What's interesting is that this is the Chosun dynasty, and one thing you don't see is rifles. There's no rifles. Very interesting. And we're dealing with the later part of the Chosun dynasty, and there's no weaponry. But this also is probably the time where, Korea is have an isolationist policy, Well, Chief, this is what Chief said. Love it. You doing such a breaking down the general culture and customs of this group of people at this time. Oh, for sure, Chief. I mean, that takes a lot. But yeah, that I mean, it's so much customs. I delve a little bit. I listen to a little bit of pansery, and that's Korean opera, pansery and things like that, and I do I want to understand the Kyeonsang. I do want to understand them. They was in niggas in life. What I'm talking about. But yeah, it very interesting. Very, because you don't hear about this stuff. Usually it's the big two, China and Japan. But very interesting, especially their Three Kingdoms period. Very interesting. So another thing, like usually, like when it, historically, here's something that they do, a custom that they do culturally in Korea, especially when the emperor dies. Like a eunuch, he would get up on the roof, and he'll take one of the emperor's old royal garments, right? And he's like, "Come back, Jonah! Come back, Jonah! Jonah! Come back!" And he raises it up in the air, keeps on raising it for a minute. I don't know how many times he does it, but he does it a few times, maybe like 10 times, and then he lets it go to fall to the ground. Very interesting. Like I said, very interesting, mate. Like, Jonah! Very, But yeah. And so, he's like, Kim Wagon, you coming with your troops. He's like, you coming with your royal guards. You think they work for you? and, and the emperor's like, seize him. And they don't move. And then you say, bring your butt in the house. You want to talk to me like you got some respect. Like he's like, Wagon's like, put some respect on my name. And then he shows, the whole hall is filled with ministers. You know what I'm saying? If you don't do what we tell you to do, we will kill your son. And he's like, we can't be bothered. The ministers like, we can't follow an emperor that listens to rumors. So the emperor basically he relents, and he snitches on his crew. And because of that, a royal cousin, the one that stutters, I don't know his name, but he's like the little funny one. He ends up getting captured and tortured, and put in jail. And he dies in jail, but the last one to see him alive is Duke Hosung, and he says, man, save yourself. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tell him nothing. I ain't snitch on you, but save yourself. They gonna fall one day. I assure you, they gonna fall one day. But save yourself. You know what I'm talking about? And all of a sudden, you see Hosong. He like bears the emperor to save his cousin at that time, but the emperor does nothing. But in that moment, you can see, basically Hosong has no confidence in the emperor. At that point. So, after that happened, you see Jae-sung, he goes to see Hosong, and he sees something that is taboo. He see Hosong dressing his son in emperor's clothing or crown princess, emperor's clothing. Usually the emperor wears red and gold, gold dragon, gold, think of what, five-finger dragon, on the stomach, on the shoulders, on the back, it's always, I've always seen it in a circle. And usually it's the crown prince who wears not a dragon as well, but not a not a five-finger dragon. I think maybe a four-finger dragon, and it's silver, blue and silver, But yeah. So he's talking to his son, calling him Chona and whatnot. And Jason sees this, because it's treason. He's like, it's treason. And so he's like, what you doing? He's like, man, I'm just, he has under, like, man, I'm just serving my son because no one's going to do this for him. But at least let his father do that for him. Okay, let's go. Foreshadow. It's sort of foreshadow, but pay attention to the color. Like I say, to what the little kid is wearing, because like I say, he has emperor's garments on. You already can see that, Hong ain't it's very deep thinking, but also it sort of reminds me of, because I may do a breakdown of it, but Last Emperor, right? And it's one of my favorite parts, which deal with the last emperor of China, Aishinjero Puyi, and he's studying with his brother Puche, but his little brother Puche at that time, because they're kids, and his brother got on yellow, and his brothers and the emperor's like, what's that you're wearing? It's yellow. It is imperial yellow. You must take it off. And he says, no. He was like, take it off. He's like, no. And you're not the emperor anymore. There's a new emperor. He's big. He's grown up, and he got a car. But he says it so funny, right? You're not the emperor. And then Puyi's like, liar. I used to always, and then they change each other around the room. You're not the emperor, liar. I used to love that part when I was a kid. You're not the emperor. But yeah, he's actually committing treason in his own house. But he's also sort of revealing his master plan in that sense. You know what I'm saying? But then you have Master Jong. He goes to Kim Sung because Chosun wants to meet him, to try to become empress or queen, right? And Master Jong says, okay, well, I didn't tell your father, because they always talk about this 2-generational on land. You know what I'm saying? 2-generational land, that's key, right? He said, but I didn't tell your father that, he can't put his father on that land. That body's already been tainted. So you're going to have to find a living body. You know, you gotta find somebody else to kill, you know, and put their remains on that land if you want to be emperor, you know. So Kim Wagon's son kills him, you know, but at that time you also see that Hong Song has captured Master Zhong, right? And because of that, only one person knew where Master Zhong was, and that was Choson. So uh Wagon's son, you know, ends up capturing her, beating her, torturing her in a sense, and she kills herself. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, that's the Duke's woman, and you know, she gave her life and she didn't tell who she told, you know, the information to. She took that to the grave. But it bothers, you know, Hong Song, you know, because he can't do nothing, you know, he gotta hold back, you know what I'm saying? And so he goes back to where, you know, they detained Master Zhong, and he asks, where's this two generational land? Because uh Jason, oh well, you know, Jason says, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? But this guy actually knows where it is. And Jason's like, you know, don't tell him. He's like, man, forget all of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't blame Kim, you know, Kim Won Gong for killing your family. Blame that weak emperor, you know, and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you know, Master John tells him where the land is. It's at, you know, Gaia Temple, or Millennium Temple. Um, and Hong Song goes there. You know what I'm saying? And then you see, you know, him and Wagon's son also goes there because Chauncey said, tells him, and so they start to fight. But then, you know, they make a deal. You know, if I become emperor, you know, basically your prime minister, your family will still be in power. That's the deal that Hun Song proposes, and they agree. And then, you know, Jason's there, but he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, don't burn the temple. It's a Buddhist temple, but don't burn. It's like burning for us. It's like burning, you know, the great temple. It's like burning the temple, Solomon. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know, woe is gonna fall the people. You know, a lot of bad things are gonna happen to the people if you burn down this place. And he warns them of that. You know, it's only two generations. He never tells them that it's two generations, and there's a caveat. You know, there's fine print, and you're basically releasing releasing the floodgates. You know what I'm saying, in a sense. And you know, Hong Song doesn't care. He's like, F all of that. I want my son to be the emperor. Forget that, and burns the temple, right? And Jason's like, man, is it really worth it for all it is just for your son to be, you know, emperor? You know what I'm saying? But before he burns the temple now, he says to basically to the Buddha statue, you know, please don't be mad, you know, but you know, the throne must be ours. You know, the throne must be mine, you know. But after all of that, you know, Jason is about to leave, you know, basically the capital, you know, which is Hanyang. Hanyang is the capital, um, which is Seoul, but they call it a different name back then. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Seoul always. It was Hanyang. And you know, Kim Wagon's son looks for him again and says, you know, did you know, that Hong Song was going to do all of that? You know, I need, and then he's like, you know, I need a land site to put my father remains on so I can be powerful than him, more powerful than him. And he gives him a site. You know what I'm saying? But years down the line, you see that, you know, Wagon's son, he gets played. you know, and this is during, you know, you can tell it's turn of the century, and turn of the 20th century, right? And he gets played, and so he digs up. You know, it's like, man, we're supposed to be in power. We're not in power. We ain't moved an inch. You know what I'm saying? We losing power. So he goes to his father's grave, and he finds, you know, new feng shui masters, and they tell him, worth it. I wonder about the significance of, well, it's not 2 years, but 2 generations. The significance of it was 2 generations, you know. Um, so the feng shui masters say, tell them, you know, sorry, Lord, but this land is cursed. you know, and you can see the natural elements that make it cursed, right? And they told, man, the soil in this in this place washed the body away. So they're digging and they don't find the body. It's not where they placed it, you know. Even if they, you know, usually put plaster over the body and things like that, it's not there. It's like the earth just gobbled it up. You know what I'm talking about? And so, you know, Jason is old now, and he's met by younger men, and they ask him, you know, we need um, a land site so we can build a military school. And so he gives them a land site and gives them a new name for it. You know what I'm saying? And even like Chong-Shik, he gives them, you know, jade and landies to help them fuel the fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's the end. Now, historically, you know, because they say, you know, you see in the writing that, you know, Hong Song, you know, you know, basically his family ruled for 2 generations, and then his line died out, which is not true. Historically, you know, Hong Song, he's actually the father of the Emperor Gojong. And that's the kid, you know. He's actually, because they don't tell you, but he's Emperor Gojong. You know, and what Emperor Gojong did, he and his father Honsong, it's basically his title is basically, you know, the father of the emperor, but he's not emperor. You will also see this, like I say, you last emperors, right? You will also see this with Aishin Jero Puyi's father. His father doesn't become emperor, but he's the father of the emperor. You know, that's actually a title or designation. Now, sometimes, you know what I'm talking about, um, the emperor will probably request that their father be made post monthly after death to become emperor. You know what I'm saying? Depending, you know, or if they can actually get it ratified or anything like that. But usually, you know, but yeah, you know, he's actually the father of the emperor. You know, and historically, his father had a more isolationist mindset for Korea. Whereas Gojong, he wanted to open up, you know, Korea to trade and things like that. And actually, he actually founds the Empire of Korea. Because also what you gotta understand is that Korea has always been like a vassal kingdom in a sense for China, right? And so that was one thing you could say that the Joseon dynasty did was they basically um, tried to autonomize, you know, their rule, you know, so they're not vassal states of China in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Especially during, you know, the various dynasties of China, of imperial China, right? Like one thing, like at one point in time, you know, Koreans actually use Chinese characters for writing, and then which goes into the final Joseon, you know, then you know, Sejong the Great comes and he gives them Hangul, you know, which is Korean writing and alphabet and things like that. You can see it, they still use it to this day, but yeah, they still use it, but Gojong, he founds the empire of Korea, and it was basically put, Korea on an equal playing field of Japan and China. What's interesting, oh man, they don't talk about it, but it's sort of referenced, especially when Kim Wall-gong's son says, when the Japanese and the Americans the Americans was there, because at this time, this is, like I say, this is during imperialism and everything. It's early 20th century. You know what I'm talking about? And one thing you're going to find out is, it's the Plymouth, the Portsmouth Treaty, not the Plymouth Treaty, but the Portsmouth Treaty. Which says, that's between America and Japan, that if basically if Japan leaves the American territory of the Philippines alone, they'll acknowledge, they'll leave the territory of Korea alone. That's roughly the Portsmouth Treaty. And who was presiding over that treaty? Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, old Teddy Roe. Not tough Teddy Roe, but Teddy Roosevelt. Oh, Rough Rider. Yeah, So, and another thing, because Gojong's basically the first and last emperor, and because he gets deposed, and then for his son, the crown prince, and then what happens is that Japan annexes Korea in 1910, and he forged basically with Gojong's signature, which he didn't sign. You know what I'm saying? And it like I say, oh man, so much. And there's a whole when Japan annexes Korea, then all of a sudden you have rebellion from Korea. And what's interesting is the Koreans in America who helped with that rebellion, especially in San Francisco. Also, another place, Reedley, or Reedley. I'm trying not to say a country, but Reedley, California, was another place, where Korean community got together during that time. You know what I'm talking about? And but yeah, they forged his signature, so it was not authentic. But oddly enough, the Lee family ended up, a few family members, not all. Some of them were for free Korea, and some of them actually joined Empire Japan. Some of them, like one prince, which was Gojong's son, but not the crown prince, but another prince. He actually joins the Japanese army. And what's interesting is that he dies, basically, they say, being fatally wounded during the bombing of, I want to say Nagasaki, but there's only two places, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it got to be either it's Nagasaki or Hiroshima where he's fatally wounded. But I can, doing that atom bomb strike, but an atom bomb bombing. But and he dies. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, some of the Lee family members they do support the Japanese government. and intermarried with them and things like that. Interesting story is of a Korean princess is Lee Lee Hae Kyung should be, yeah, Lee Hae Kyung. What's interesting enough, she's the princess. She's an imperial princess and the granddaughter of Gojong, and she was a librarian for the University of Columbia in New York. you know, in Prince, you don't hear that, you don't hear that for British royalty, but yeah, she was a librarian for the Columbia University, and there's also things about the litigation house litigation house on about her grandfather buying this property in DC. That's basically was like a ambassadorial residence, which the Japanese hoodwinked them out of too. Forging signatures and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I say, man, this movie had historical elements, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, I don't like the Andong Kims, they do fall out of power. They do, their power diminishes and decline. They fall out of power just like the Lee clan does. But when it says that, 2 generations and his line dies out, that's not true. Because that woman lived, well, I don't know if she's still alive. Because that's like asking, because I know Princess Dae Kyung or Dae Hong. Dae Kyung. I can't always get the spelling right. She lived up to the 80s, and then another prince, he lived up to 2005. Because some of those descendants, they actually came to the U.S. to study and things like that. But the Lee clan didn't die out, like the movie say. It didn't die out at all. It sort of went. But it sort of went the last emperor route with China in a sense. Oh man, and yeah, another thing, like the Japanese killed the empress, Gojo's wife. Remember if I'm correct. And that was when they were the empire of Korea. They couldn't do nothing about it, But yeah, Empress Myeong should be Myeong. And but like I say, it sort of goes that route. Like the Eisengeros, the Manchurians of the Qing, with Puyi and they ended up serving in the government. Well, if I ever break down last emperor, I'll tell you all of that. Yeah, but that's the end. I'm talking about. Like I say, it gets, man, a lot of history when it comes to this. So it gets deep, right? So you got to know so much. But like I say, when they give that little hint, Japan and America, because you also got to understand that the Japanese had just got out of the the Russian-Japanese War, which they won. That's during Tsar Nicholas' reign, in Russia. Sometimes you got to place history in more than one place, right? And so, they just won. They own the win. They feeling themselves, and then that happens, and then they're able to acquire Korea, and then and they run Korea for 35 years, and they do crazy things just like they did in Manchuria. It's like For those of us that was like, when she was talking about a certain group changing places, that's they're another one that changed places. Oh my goodness, man! You like I say, didn't want to be in a Japanese POW camp. You did want to be under their rule, under their imperial rule. It's not fun. It's not an all anime and idol groups and cafes and things. No, not at all. That comes after they get buck and wow and things like that. It's no fun. And what else? But yeah, Gojon had a lot of family members and a lot of descendants, So it like just all to say that it didn't die out. Actually it does something that what was really interesting is the founding of the imperial the imperial government of Korea, the Empire of Korea, and then after that, that's basically the sort of the last time, Korea is actually won, united, because after that, after Japanese annexation and the Japanese, losing it during World War II, then you have how we see Korea today. You know what I'm talking about? The North. And then you got the South. The People's Republic. Is it the Democratic Republic of Korea? Should be the Democratic Republic of Korea. And then you have the Republic of Korea. One's communist, the other one's Democratic or Republican in a sense. Terramingo. Yeah, I know too much. But that's all. So man, join us next time. Join us next strong. And we are going to talk about the Last Supper. And it ain't the Last Supper with Yeshua, Yeshua and them. We ain't talking about that Last Supper. We gonna get into the founding of the Han Dynasty. We have talked about, the Three Kingdoms period, the end of the Han Dynasty. But we're gonna talk about the beginning. we're going to talk about the beginning. You know what I'm talking about? And we're gonna get into it. You know what I'm talking about with the Last Supper. Which is very interesting, especially the key players. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, that's what we gonna be on. We gonna be going on the founding of the Han Dynasty with Lil Bong and whatnot from P County. So that's what we're doing next strong. So I will, see y'all then. Give thanks everybody. You know what I'm talking about. Actually, Sister Yafe, it's not Three Kingdoms at all. It's the Han Dynasty. With now Three Kingdoms, like I just said, Three Kingdoms happens at the end, low way in. But this is the beginning of the founding of the Han Dynasty. From the Qin or Qin Dynasty, and that's what we're dealing with. There's no Three Kingdoms period at this time. This is the founding of the Han Dynasty, and that will lead up to the Three Kingdoms period later on down the line. But basically, this is because, like I've told you, the Han Dynasty is also one of the golden ages of China. Just like actually Chosun brings in for a time a golden age in Korea. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, they bring science. I mean, like I said, they bring a lot of different science, governmental structure, in Korea, and they bring their own language finally, but they bring their own language, and things like that. That's a golden age, So that's why, in a sense, Chosun is very interesting and significant because they bring forth a golden age, but then they also bring some heinous corruption, you know, which just shows that the structure probably wasn't all that sound, at least as time passed on, you know. But yeah, we're gonna get into it with the Han, you know what I'm talking about, and we're gonna talk about it. But look, it's been my honor, as Chief would say, you know what I'm talking about, and give thanks to everybody for showing up and showing out, you know what I'm talking about. And we gonna get into it next strong. Don't forget we got Shema tomorrow, and then first day we have Clubhouse, and then you don't forget we also got does it work? DJ Yami. No, it don't work. DJ Yim. Yeah, we got to figure something else. We got sister Yemi now. Okay, that part works. you know, Also on the ones and twos, early in the dawning, you know what I'm talking about. But hey yo, give thanks. It's like I said, been my honor, and I will see y'all next strong, you know what I'm talking about. So give thanks and peace.